Buenas tardes from Manta, Ecuador. In this video, I will be sharing my story of what happened in the airport on my way to Ecuador, because I want y'all to basically avoid some of the pitfalls that I've experienced in this solo travel journey. So let's go and stay tuned. Hi, my name is Tari. I quit my job and sold my home to get my health back by slow traveling the world. My channel helps women over 30 who do the most instead do the least by prioritizing their health holistically through nutrition, embracing rest, and changing their environment with solo travel. If that's something that interests you, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and lock in as we create the lives we deserve together. Now let's get into this story. When I booked the ticket, I booked it about 3 weeks out from the date that I was actually planning to leave. So it's not like I booked these tickets well in advance, right? So anytime you're booking tickets kind of last minute, that's considered last minute in the aviation world, you kind of have to get a little creative when you're doing so. So I came across this channel. Her name is Bianca Lynch, and she shared this website called Momondo. And basically you go on there and you find all of these different, it's a site where you basically can create a low cost itinerary. So you can search based on, you can determine where you want to go based on what's the cheapest. You can, it'll tell you which dates are more expensive, medium range, and lower. And so I did that to book my flight. Once I had it booked, it was now time to actually go and, for the flight. I already did the pack with me video. I explained that whole shenanigans. If you didn't see that video, make sure you go back and watch this one right here. I'll tell you why I ended up why I ended up traveling with only a personal item bag. But for this story today, when it was time to actually leave the airport, so I flew from Houston, Texas to San Salvador, El Salvador. I had a 4-hour flight there, and then I flew from San Salvador, El Salvador, to Quito, Ecuador. Now in Quito, I believe it's the capital city of Ecuador, and that's where I had a 18 to 20 hour layover. Okay, great. I planned to have this layover. So ahead of time, I did look up hotels in the area. I didn't like the way they were priced, to be honest. So I said, okay, well, the next best thing is to find some type of lounge that I can, just kind of hang out in until the next day for my flight, right? So my plan, I went on Google and I found this luxurious, oh my gosh, it looks so nice. This really nice international layover at the Quito airport. When I looked online, it said that they were operating 24 hours, that the actual lounge, the international lounge, was open for 24 hours. So I said, okay, great. It looks like they have places where you can take a nap. They had a bar service. They had food. Like, I think they even had showers, like everything you needed to just like kill time for a day or so. Well, for about a day. I wouldn't be in a lounge longer than a day, but it was only going to be about a day. So I figured, okay, I can hang out in the lounge. That was the plan. God will laugh at your plans. Okay, so I touched down in Quito around 12:35 to be exact, 12:35 a.m. I don't even know why. In hindsight, I don't even know why I booked this itinerary, but that's neither here nor there. And the first thing that the airport security and personnel does is usher me and everyone else that's getting off the plane straight to customs. And I'm just like, okay. So I knew that the International Lounge was behind the security checkpoint, behind their version of TSA. And I knew that I would need to stay inside of that area in order to access the lounge. So in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to stay behind the checkpoint and go straight to the lounge from where I entered the airport. Let me tell you, those people said, in Spanish, they said, okay, come this way to Inmigración. But in Spanish, vamos a Inmigración. And I'm like, okay, well, I was trying to explain to them, well, I have another flight that's going to Manta. Yeah, they didn't care. They did not care. From there, I went through customs, I went through immigration. They do their due process. They ask you, what are you here for? I told them tourism. He stamped my passport. Great. Okay. From there, you're ushered into the lobby. And at that point, a little bit of panic started to set in because I didn't know, like, my whole plan was derailed. Like, I never felt unsafe, but I clearly was like, okay, I had planned to do this and now I can't do this because of that, right? And so I'm pulling up my Google Translator. It's, for whatever reason, when you're panicking, nothing works. My Google Translator app is just not working. It was doing something. It was trying to get me to do something. And in hindsight, all I had to do was push a button to make something go away, but I was pushing the wrong button and it wouldn't go off the screen. So I couldn't use that to communicate with the airport personnel. And then, so then I tried to just go back towards the TSA gates, and then the security guy stops me, and he says something in Spanish, and I'm assuming he's basically saying you have to wait, you can't go back here. And so I'm trying to communicate with him. It's a struggle. And at that point, I just felt defeated. Surprisingly, the airport Wi-Fi was kind of spotty. Like, I would stay connected for maybe 20 minutes at a time, and then I would just lose connection. So here I am trying to look for hotels that is not too far from the airport because, mind you, I did not do my homework about Quito. I don't know what the safe places are. I don't know what the dangerous neighborhoods are. So I didn't feel comfortable leaving the airport area. The whole plan was to stay there until I get to the last leg of my flight. Well, I basically end up looking up all of the hotels in the area. They're all like basically American hotels, the brands that we know of, the Hiltons, the Wyndhams, and all of that. I was like, okay, well, that's not an option because this is a budget trip for me. This is not a luxury vacation. I'm slow traveling. I'm not here to just blow $150 in one night. So I'm like, all right, I guess I just got to hang out in this lobby. So I'm between me walking in the lobby and across the street to this little center that they have. I walked around this area for a smooth 3 hours. At one point, I came across this really nice taxi driver. Of course, he was trying to get business, right? He sees that I'm kind of wandering around and I'm like looking lost. And, again, he's speaking Spanish. We're in a Spanish-speaking country, so I expected all of that part. But we're trying to communicate. He's trying to basically get me to essentially use his services to get me to a hotel room. And I'm trying to explain to him, like, I don't feel comfortable leaving the airport, but I was supposed to stay behind the security gate, but they pushed me out. And then he was like, oh, and he seemed genuine. I will say this about the people in Quito, Ecuador. He seemed genuinely concerned, even though I know that he was trying to basically get me to purchase his taxi services. Once he realized that, okay, I'm not going anywhere, like, he still stuck around to try to help me solve my problem. Which I really appreciated. And he didn't have to do that. He could have just looked at it like, okay, I'm not getting my money, so I'm just gonna go on and try to move on to the next person to get the ride. But he didn't. He called over a couple of other people to try to help me solve my problem. And I really appreciated that because it kind of helped me to calm down. Because at this point, I'm crying. And it's not that I felt unsafe. Like, I felt safe the whole time. Quito as a city, it was very beautiful. Looking out of the windows, looking at the mountains, it's a very beautiful city. The infrastructure is there, and I felt safe where I was. I just didn't know what was beyond the airport. You know what I'm saying? And I was frustrated at this point because I'm tired. It's at this point, it's like 3:00 in the morning. I'm exhausted, and I just want to lay down. And I'm hungry, but at this point, I'd rather lay down than eat. He tries to tell me, and later I realized in Spanish, he was telling me that the other lounge was across the way. Like, there's this little walkway when you exit the arrivals. And then there's another building, like a little international airport, or there's an airport center across the walkway. And I knew that there was a lounge over there, but I was under the impression that lounge was only a 4-hour stay. Like, you could only stay a maximum of 4 hours. So I'm calling my sister. I don't know what to do. I'm stressing out a little bit. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I just need to get some food in my system because I am one of those people where if I'm both tired and hungry and like exhausted and starving, like I do turn into a toddler and like my brain shuts down and I don't know what to do. So I was like, okay, let me just go get some food. So I walked across the little walkway to the center. They had a 24-hour cafe open. I ordered my food in Spanish. Y'all should have seen me. I was so proud of myself. Your girl's gonna be like fully bilingual by the end of next year for sure. So anyway, I have my Spanish. I have my sandwich and I had some chips and I'm just like observing, right? So I'm reading the back of the chips and I'm like, oh, these chips only have 3 ingredients. Why don't our chips back at home only have 3 ingredients? I mean, do you have the option for three ingredient chips back in the States? Yes, you do, but you're gonna pay an arm and a leg for them. But why is their baseline for their chips just 3 ingredients, the potato, the oil, and the salt? None of that extra stuff. And so I was like, okay, let me just go over there and see and talk to the people and see what they say. Okay, so I walk in, at this point, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. I walk in and the attendant comes to the desk and I ask her, and I'm practicing in Spanish using Google Translate, okay, how I'm gonna ask for what I need. So I ask her in Spanish, how does the layover lounge work? And then she explains to me that you get 18 hours. She's speaking in Spanish. I recognize the word in Spanish for 18. And I'm like, 18? And then I repeat it back. Is it once oche or something like that? Or I don't know. Don't ask me right now because in this moment I can't remember. But I repeated it back to her and she said, no, 18 hours. Auroras. I'm like, okay. Why did it say 4 hours online? In my mind, I'm like, okay, what does it even matter? She's telling me 18. It's $40. They only take cards, no cash. So I said, okay, perfect. I'm not even worried about foreign transaction fees at this point. I just want to be able to like lay down and or not even lay down, just sit down and close my eyes and get some sleep because what's happening here? So I paid my $40. I have access to the lounge now. I walk around, I'm looking for, they had some reclining chairs. They had like a little area where they put out food throughout the day. They had drinks. They had this really good broccoli soup that was really good that I had the next morning. But I was like, okay, great. I'm walking around looking for a recliner with a plug behind it. I didn't see one, so I was like, okay, fine. I'll just sit right here, which was tucked away in the corner of the lounge, but it was up against the wall, but really like in the center part, and it was just a regular seat, wasn't a recliner. I slept that whole night there, that whole morning at this point, the whole morning in that chair. And so from there, I'm throughout the morning, I'm hearing people come and go. I'm hearing conversations, but when you're so exhausted, you don't even care. And I think I woke up around 11 o'clock in the morning, and I started to get up and move around. Wake up, it's time to brush teeth, it's time to wash off. I'm like, okay, I got one more leg of this journey. And I start to look around and I see, oh, there were recliners the whole time that had charging ports, they had wall sockets behind them, but for whatever reason, I didn't see them. Is maybe because I was just that delirious. I mean, the light was really low when I came in at that point. So maybe I just missed it because of the lighting, but I think I was just delirious. I was that exhausted. And I'm like, dang, I could have been a recliner this whole time, but that's fine, whatever. So at this point, I had some breakfast. I had time to kill. So I'm just like hanging out, literally. And it worked out. I felt much better because I finally had some rest. So I tell that story to say, like, just because you decide to really do anything in life, it doesn't mean that it's automatically going to go as smoothly as you would expect it to. So expect the unexpected and make sure that you pack your patience, especially when you're going to a country where you just simply just don't even, you're familiar with the language, but you just don't know it. Like most of us growing up in Texas, I took like 4, 5, 6 years of Spanish between middle school, high school, and college. But I'm still not fluent. You know what I'm saying? So it's a struggle for me to ask for what I need. So knowing this, you have to pack your patience because they're being patient with you just by having a conversation with you. I say this because sometimes as Americans, we can have a very entitled attitude because we're used to being catered to. Now, I will say that in the last 10 years, that has definitely changed. Customer service sucks everywhere. We don't really get the same level of service like we used to, but still as a whole, we do expect for people to like cater to us as Americans, and we have to like check that before you leave your home and go pop into somebody else's country. Definitely check it. Make sure that you're not entering someone else's space with that mindset, because you're a guest. You're a guest in someone's home, literally, right? And if you want to be the right kind of global citizen, you're going to make sure that you are coming into it with a mindset of, I'm adapting to your environment, as opposed to coming into someone's home and expecting them to change everything for you, right? So think about it when you have guests over. Are you going to accommodate your guests? Yeah, you're going to make sure that they're comfortable. You're going to make sure that they feel safe, they feel good. You might get them a drink. You're going to maybe have hors d'oeuvres. But it doesn't mean that you're just going to rearrange your whole house for that guest that's in your home, right? I'm not about to go out and buy a whole new table just because this person is coming over. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to move my plants around because now this other person comes from a country where plants are positioned a certain way. Like, that's not how it works. So we have to make sure that we are coming into any country, any new space, with an attitude of gratitude and an attitude of wanting to integrate ourselves into what's already there, as opposed to changing that environment to make it match what we want it to be. Okay, that's the first thing. And I also wanted to tell this story because if you're a person that has anxiety like I do, it doesn't mean that you can't travel. It just means that maybe you have to do a little bit more homework. I should have definitely done more homework. I should have made sure and like double, triple, quadruple checked the stipulations on the airport lounges and which lounges are open for which amount of time and what is the maximum. I thought I did my homework, but maybe I got them mixed up. I don't know. I definitely didn't do enough homework for the trip that I was embarking on. So learn from my mistake, do your homework. I didn't know that in Ecuador that the water standards are what they are. And I'm just gonna be completely transparent. I've been doing everything with bottled water since I've gotten here. I've been brushing my teeth with bottled water. I have been washing my face with bottled water. I have been cooking with regular water, but I make sure I boil it first to make sure I get everything out. But essentially in Ecuador, their water supply is not up to international standards. And that's something that I didn't know. Someone had to tell me that. And don't get me started on the earthquakes. Y'all, I'm from Houston, Texas, and I lived in Atlanta, Georgia for 6 to 7 years of my life, okay? I ain't never experienced no earthquake until I got over here. When I tell you I thought that this house was crumbling down and I ran outside because I didn't want it to crumble down on my head, my hand was like shaking. I'm like this, right? And I'm house sitting. So this dog that I'm house sitting with, I darted downstairs and out the door. He darted after me because that's what dogs do. And the cat is just looking like this. Where y'all going? But anyway, learn from my mistakes. Do your research. I didn't know that Ecuador is within the Ring of Fire. What is the Ring of Fire? Like, I had never heard of this term ever in my life. I'm learning as I'm going. And while there's some things that you can prepare for and do your research on, there's always going to be things that will pop up that you would have never thought that you would have to embark on. And you just got to be a person that knows how to roll with the punches and adjust to what's going on. There's a lot that has happened just right here in this house that I'm like, whoo, Ecuador giving me a run for things just kept happening. I ended up accidentally locking myself out of the door. Like, I have a list of things that have gone left that I just didn't expect. But in the end, it all worked out. In the end, like, I know that God has me here for a reason. And I know that I can literally see the signs of the stress and the worry and the anxiousness just like melting away from my body. And then also the food. The food has been tremendous in helping me get the inflammation out of my body. I don't have to worry about a whole lot of extra ingredients. Even when I'm buying prepackaged foods in the grocery store, like that ingredient list is heavily shortened and they're not adding a lot of the things that have been harmful. I haven't had not one spasm in my gut yet. Like, I usually will have these random pains and that's a bad feeling. It really is. It's very painful. And I haven't had that since I've been here. So I'm very grateful for that. This concludes the journey to get here to Ecuador, as well as some of the things that I've experienced while being here. In the next video, I'm going to have some actual footage of some of the things that I've seen. I'm just gonna like let it play with some music in the background, just so you can get kind of the scenery of what I'm seeing through my eyes into your television or your mobile phone, however you choose to watch here on YouTube. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for staying on this ride with me. I appreciate everyone who has commented on the video because it really helps the channel. And of course, we're looking to grow the community. So if there's anything that you specifically want me to share or something that you would like to see from me, let me know. I'm all about the health and nutrition. I'm all about the travel, and I'm all about like centering ourselves. So if there's something specific that you want me to react to or comment on, definitely let me know in the comment section, and I'll see y'all in the next one.